keynote speaker, His Excellency Dr. Agus Yudhoyono. He is the Coordinating Minister for Infrastructure and Regional Development, Republic of Indonesia. We were delighted to be hosted by Minister Yudhoyono last week in Yogyakarta at the Yudhoyono Institute. And what struck me for the Institute were the three keywords inked in the logo: liberty, prosperity, and security. Beautifully reflected in our own values here at Stanford University, the Door School of Sustainability, and the Hoover Institution. In that meeting, I also learned about Minister Yudhoyono's love for sports. He's a great fan and patron of volleyball. And at Stanford, we are also a huge fan of sports. If I can just maybe boast for one moment, our students and athletes, in the last Olympic, Summer Olympic, we received 39 medals. If Stanford was a country, we would be the 8th ranked in the number of medals received. You know, a great way for a leader to know his country will be to spend time with the people, and a great way for someone to know Stanford is to have a run. And I was delighted to hear that Minister Yudhoyono yesterday took a 5-mile run around the Stanford campus to enjoy the beauty of our architecture and interacting with some of our students. So it is with my great pleasure I'd like to invite Minister Yudhoyono to the stage to share his thoughts.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon us all. His Excellency Dr. Susilo Bambang Yudhoyono, the 6th President of the Republic of Indonesia. I'm proud to share the same last name with him. And suffice to say that I have known him quite well my whole life. And in his keynote speech this morning, President Yudhoyono outlined Southeast Asia's critical role in global sustainability, calling for regional leadership, US-ASEAN collaboration, and education-driven innovation to address interconnected crises in food, water, energy, and climate. And thank you, William, for your kind introduction. And unfortunately, by the time I got here, the Golden State Warriors had been eliminated from the NBA playoffs. But I make sure that we didn't bring any bad luck to California. Well, I would like to appreciate Honorable Dr. Condoleezza Rice, the director of the Hoover Institution and former US Secretary of State. Thank you for hosting today's luncheon. It has been a privilege to engage in a candid and constructive exchange of views. And also Honorable Dr. Arun Majumdar, the Dean of the Stanford Door School of Sustainability. And I would like to personally thank Dean Arun for making the trip to Yogyakarta last week. And of course, Honorable Gita Wirjawan, visiting scholar, Precourt Institute for Energy, former Minister of Trade, Republic of Indonesia. He has been a personal friend and a mentor to me. And of course, he is a great ambassador, a great storyteller of Southeast Asia. Thank you for organizing this event with the Hoover Institution and with Dr. Arun and also William. and Vice Chairman of the People's Consultative Assembly of the Republic of Indonesia, my brother, Dr. Edi Baskoro Yudhoyono. So here's another Yudhoyono in the house. Well, in fact, we have the whole family here. My wife, Anissa, Larasati Puan Yudhoyono. My sister-in-law, Alia Baskoro Yudhoyono. So they say there is either a very good news or a very bad news if the whole family are together in the same building, right? But today is a great news for every one of us because we can feel the optimism, the positive energy, and we are trying to translate any kind of challenges into opportunities to make Southeast Asia a much better place, right? Senior policymakers, academics, civil society, and business leaders, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor to address you today at Stanford University, long associated with bold thinking, scientific discovery, and transformative leadership. I visited the Stanford campus about 16 years ago. While I was still a young Army captain and a graduate student at the Harvard Kennedy School. I think we should recreate this photo. I was deeply inspired, not only by the intellectual vibrancy of the university, but also by the boundless spirit of possibility that defines Silicon Valley. This is a place where bold ideas take shape, where technology is forged, and where the future is constantly being imagined. This gathering brings together a distinguished community of senior policy makers, academics, global business leaders, financiers, and development advocates. While we come from diverse backgrounds, we are united by a shared aspiration, the hope for a better future. Southeast Asia is no longer a region merely reacting to global change. It is helping to drive it. From Jakarta to Manila, from Singapore to Hanoi, our cities and nations are becoming hubs of production, innovation, and resilience. Over the past decade, ASEAN economies have outpaced global growth, accounting for more than 700 million people, rising middle classes, and deepening regional ties. But for all our progress, we face urgent questions. Will our growth be sustainable? Will the prosperity gain be inclusive? And will greater cooperation or fragmentation define the region's rise? These are not abstract dilemmas. They are pressing realities shaped by climate change, geopolitical rivalry, technological disruption, and social inequality. They demand strategic choices that will shape our future. The Southeast Asia Summit on Prosperity and Sustainability reminds us that these two goals are inseparable. The summit also builds on the discussions we held with Dean Arun, other leading Stanford faculty, and regional partners at the Yudhoyono Institute's forum in Yogyakarta, Indonesia last week, where we emphasized that resilience, equity, and sustainability must go hand in hand. I believe Southeast Asia must therefore pursue three interdependent imperatives. First, integrating sustainability with prosperity. Let me begin with a simple but powerful truth. There can be no sustainability without shared prosperity. People must see the green transition not as a burden, but as a pathway to better lives, livelihoods, and futures. Too often, sustainability agendas are framed in technical language, far removed from the daily struggles of families, farmers, or workers. But in reality, the climate crisis hits the vulnerable first and hardest. It does so through failed crops, health risks, and lost incomes. Let us not forget, most of the world's population still lives in developing economies. Their path to sustainability cannot be paved with unaffordable solutions or abstract targets. It must be pragmatic, equitable, and backed by real resources. In Indonesia, sustainability is embedded in our national development strategy. Under President Prabowo Subianto's leadership, we are advancing an integrated approach. Number one, strengthening food and water security through better farming, irrigation, and logistics. Number two, pursuing energy security by expanding renewables like waste to energy, geothermal, and hydropower. And number three, building climate-resilient infrastructure to connect our vast archipelago, both physically and digitally. Indonesia is confronting the twin pressures of rapid urbanization and climate stress, from coastal erosion and city strain to the urgent need for affordable housing. In northern Java, especially Jakarta, land subsidence and rising seas threaten millions of people. In response, we are advancing multi-phase initiatives to safeguard coastal populations and economic centers in line with our commitment for climate adaptation. Waste is another mounting challenge. Indonesia generates over 64 million tons annually. We are now scaling up waste-to-energy solutions to reduce landfill pressure, diversify energy, and advance a circular economy. With over half our population in cities and rising to 70% by 2045, urban growth must be sustainable. This requires climate-resilient and inclusive communities. Overcoming financing and policy barriers is essential to making housing a driver of equity and green growth. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the second imperative is linking global innovation with local action. We live in an era of rapid technological acceleration. Artificial intelligence, renewable energy storage, climate modeling, fintech, and biotech offer enormous potential, but only if they reach those who need them most. The challenge lies not only in rapid innovation, it demands deployment with equity. To succeed, we must narrow the gap between global solutions and local needs. It means designing technologies with and for communities, not just importing them. And it also means empowering micro, small, and medium enterprises and rural entrepreneurs who form the backbone of our local economies. Financial institutions also have a critical role. We must shift capital toward long-term inclusive investments. The rise of sustainable finance is encouraging, but we must go further. We must scale blended finance models, mitigate the risk of climate projects, and improve regulatory environments. Most of all, we need trust with ethical AI, transparent data, and global frameworks that protect people while enabling innovation. Technology and innovation should empower people, not displace or marginalize them. The third imperative is improving regional cooperation. In our interconnected world, no country can confront systemic risk such as climate crisis, supply chain disruptions, food insecurity, and digital threats alone. These challenges demand collective and coordinated responses. For Southeast Asia, this effort must begin with a stronger, more effective ASEAN. The time has come to move beyond a consensus-building forum and toward a problem-solving platform. It means strengthening institutional capacity, deepening public-private collaboration, and fast-tracking cross-border initiatives. From integrated transport corridors and regional power grids to digital frameworks and carbon markets. The ASEAN Master Plan on Connectivity 2025 offers an existing framework, although progress remains uneven. Success stories from Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines show what is possible. Now, we must replicate and expand these efforts across the region. We must also be firm in our commitment to multilateralism and regional peace. Great power rivalry must not define Southeast Asia's future. Instead, we must lead with our own agenda, rooted in stability, inclusivity, and respect for international law. We invite the United States as a long-time strategic partner to increase its engagement in the region, as well as investment into green project opportunities, including sustainable infrastructure. As the world's fourth largest democracy and a natural bridge between Asia, Africa, and the Pacific, Indonesia is ready to help shape a development agenda that is not only sustainable, but also just. Prosperity must be inclusive, and sustainability must reflect the realities of Southeast Asia, where resilience is built not in boardrooms alone, but in farms, villages, coastlines, and informal economies. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge Stanford University's immense potential in shaping this future. Stanford can play its role as a global engine of knowledge and collaboration. This institution is uniquely positioned to act as a bridge. It connects research and policy making, innovation and social impact, and regions and generations. Whether it is in clean energy, public health, sustainable finance, or ethical AI, Stanford's thought leadership can accelerate the solutions we need, and it can do so by partnering with institutions and communities across Southeast Asia. This summit is more than a dialogue. It is a clear signal of intent that the world's most dynamic region and one of its forward-thinking universities stand united, ready to think, work, and lead together. Leadership requires more than strength. It demands wisdom, empathy, and collective resolve. I hope all of us here will leave this room to lead with purpose, build with integrity, and act with urgency. The three imperatives we embrace: integrating sustainability with prosperity, linking global innovation with local action, and strengthening regional cooperation with ASEAN at the core are our path forward. Let us be united in purpose and committed in action to build a resilient and equitable Southeast Asia. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Minister Yudhoyono. It is my great pleasure to present you with a small token of appreciation. This is the book Speed and Scale, co-authored by John Doerr, the namesake of the Doerr School of Sustainability. Unfortunately, he's not able to be here today. You mentioned what is required of leadership. leadership also requires presence. We're deeply grateful for you, the president, to be present at Stanford University today. I hope you also recognize the importance of Southeast Asia in Stanford, in our presence at your institute last week. I think these are the necessary ingredients to move with speed and to reach scale. So I'm super delighted to present to you with this book.